Good morning, Piwa.
Good morning, Imani.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Please, thank you for having me. Honestly, it's such a beautiful day in Chicago, so I'm so excited to get into it.
Me too. It was hot today.
Yes.
It was hot today. We were sweating.
The way that the clouds kind of helping us out right now is beautiful. Because
Thankful to the clouds. Thankful to the sun as well.
come on, and the trees.
Yes.
And the birds.
Yes.
You
Thankful
know?
to you as well, because I really want to get into asking you these questions about your album, asking these questions about your artistry, your development. So tell me more about genre for you. I want to know about genre. I want to know about where you think you fit in and what started you in the genre that you think you fit into right now.
For sure. So, especially when it comes to the topic of genre, I always have a conflicting time because I am a girl that sees herself in everything and everywhere and feel like I belong everywhere in that sense. But as for the genre that I feel as if I've found as something that I label as this is more so my world right now, I would call it alternative hip hop. I would say more like anti-pop, hip-hop, alternative. That's like the words that I usually like to roll around because it's just such like a, I can't just stick to I feel like I have a lot of cadence within that resonates, of course, with my hip-hop start. But, rock is something that that was my baby growing up.
I hear that a lot, that there's themes in your music, even though it could be hip-hop, even though it could sound more of that nature.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, like I really do love to have that moment of just really including those elements that I just love hearing when I was growing up. Like I always get back to literally looking at like Lil Wayne, the fact that he was legit one of the first rock stars I've ever known in my life. So like that hip hop
He's a
rock
rock
combination.
star, not a rapper. He's a rock star.
Star.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you for saying that. There need to be more people who are establishing Black people as rock stars and not rappers.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful combination of both. Like, yes, Lil Wayne definitely is a rapper. He's a rock star.
Yeah.
He's a rock star in that. So, especially when it comes to it, I feel like people don't want to give him that sometimes. But when it comes to like Black rock stars,
Give Lil Wayne his flowers, to be honest.
give him the flowers. Are
I
you
love
kidding?
that.
Do you not remember Prom Queen?
Come on.
I'm like, pick the world up and I'ma drop it on your fucking head.
Hey, you're lit. That's what I feel. I'm glad you can feel inspired by so many Black rock stars and have them be modern too. I feel like a lot of time when we refer to rock stars, we think of them as like Prince, Michael Jackson, a little bit older.
Please.
you
And
know?
those are the rock stars indeed, but definitely when it comes to, like what I remember my like older sister putting me on to.
Right.
Older sister, you definitely
Older
want
sister
to be
music.
like older
Yeah.
sister. And she was putting me on. She was putting me on to all of that just like, Weezer when it came to it, pork and beans type shit. So
Oh my God.
in that world, it was just something where it just came together so beautifully of being like, yo, these are the rock stars I know. Definitely did have that moment of like tapping in towards like you mentioned like Michael Jackson. One of the first songs I remember that just brought me to the table for sure was like literally I will say it was We Are the World. Crazy enough, We Are the World was that song for me when I was like probably in elementary school.
Wow,
that
that's
made
early.
me stop and genuinely go, what is this? Because all those collective voices in there. That's how I found like Steve Perry, for one, is another artist that's like a rock star in my book where I fell in love with his voice. Like, oh my gosh, wait, I'm trying to think. Cyndi Lauper, those artists too, but literally just
It was
seeing
packed in there.
packed. Lionel Richie, like you already know in that household, that's where it really threw down for sure in there. Michael was but yes, This is
Excellent.
me like with the Lil Wayne world was more so like, okay, I'm really establishing my own sounds and this is where I'm going
That's the
toward.
genre you fit into, Black rock stars.
Black
Who can
rock
sometimes be
stars.
mistaken as rappers, rock stars.
Come on.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the facial distortions you use in your art. I really like that when your presentation about yourself and your identity. You use painting, you use modification, and you use anamorphism, like turning yourself into an animal. I want you to tell me more about your inspiration for that.
For sure. Like when it really does come to my visual world, I find that, especially because I do happen to have my friends being the one on this team with me, it gives me that freedom to feel like, oh, like this is a safe way to play. And especially them knowing me, who I am, they know it's what I want to do. In that world of, my friends who have directed with me, and we just sat and talked for hours of just where we want to go. We do get kooky in there because it's something where it's like, when else will we do it? You already know, like, Halloween will come around, which is one of my favorite holidays.
You do Halloween whenever you want to do Halloween.
Exactly. Halloween whenever I want to do Halloween. And I feel like whenever it comes to, even when I think of, like, the first music video that really did give that energy of, like, oh, like, we're shifting, we're changing, like, was No Fun from my last project. And that's where I really got to, you know, like, get my teeth knocked out. There was a lot of blood. Just warning. And those were all things where at first I was very scared of being like, I don't know if this is gonna read well. Y'all, like,
or translate well.
You know, it's like, yes, this may be fun for me in the way where I'm like, you know, I'm very comfortable at this point in my life as to how I present myself because of the people I have around me that know who I am as a person. You know, I did have a lot of, like, that, you know, syndrome of everyone thinks I'm scary now, and like, but, you know, it's African kid, of course, you get real scared of stuff whenever you see the relatives being like, saw that.
Do your relatives have something to say about the art that you make, about these distortions?
You know, when it comes to it, my family, we have grown up very religious, very, you know, heavily within the church. And it's something that I really do appreciate, of course, growing up into. But it is when it comes to, you know, like I mentioned with my visual world, yes, there is a good amount of that me being like, I want to play. But there are portions of that is like, well, there's also a meaning here. And, you know, I would love to talk about it whenever being asked more so.
Not just like unprompted.
Like, you know, in those moments of being like, I'm not really trying to like overdo my explanation because I know how sometimes that will get me more so. And I like the idea of letting the viewer take themselves into that world themselves. And, you know, but I love the question. So it's like, you know, when I feel like with my relatives itself, it's always just like if you ask me about it, I'll tell you what it was.
Right. But it's not like your necessary story.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Exactly.
I'm glad that it doesn't feel limiting or defining to who you are. Exactly. I feel like it can for a lot of artists who are international because it is limiting, but it's such a piece and it's not a whole.
Yes, because no, especially when it comes to the visual world, I feel like sometimes it does get to that point of like being a little intense and scary because I do love the aspect of using this art to kind of show what it was, like the trauma release in a way that makes it fun for me looking at it sometimes of being like, you know, this was something that, you know, I had to sit with before ever coming out. It's all up to me, which is nice that like with the support I have around me. Piwa, if you're not comfortable with something that like we're about to release where you've taken a double step, totally okay.
Yeah.
This is about you and how you present yourself. And I definitely sit with it because it's times where it's like, you know, I psych myself out, but then it's like the universe pings to me like,
it grounds you. It grounds you.
Exactly. In that way where I look at these, like, even the like cover of Rotten.
I actually wanted to ask you about that, especially with Rotten, because the sound of it feels a little bit different from your other works. The cover is a little bit more intense than your other works. It looks more dark. It looks a little bit less of that fun animation and more of that animation that makes you think about different things. And I want to know about how your artistry, your sound, and your connection has changed from other works for now to Rotten.
Ooh, I feel like, you know, I had that moment at the listening party, just mentioning the first project I did, which was called Dead Ends, to now this project Rotten, and asking, you know, like, how do these worlds connect? Oh, it connects. It connects. You know, if you give me a whole day and then some, you know, I could draw all these points out for you. It's fun puzzle piecing as I go because I know that this is my story in a coded way.
Yeah.
You know.
And you were the one to decode it.
Exactly. And it's always just that thing of, you know, like I said before, like, let me not over-explain myself because there's a lot, you know, that one picture from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where the guy's literally like, there's just a bunch of
He's trying to like figure it out. Yeah. I think it's Dennis. Yeah.
Yes,
It is, yeah.
Literally, like, Dead Ends, I feel like, was that part of my life where I was still trying to figure out what it was that I was sounding like, but still just like more so being like, no, this is me having fun with my friends.
Play, like you're saying, that play aspect.
Exactly. You know, especially coming from Texas at that point, this project, Dead Ends, was kind of like an ode for me, like as the girl in Texas. And being like, oh, you know, this is me writing about that life kind of thing in the way where I'm figuring out what my life looks like here.
And I really want to know about how that looks when you move through the industry, because you're saying you go from Texas to Chicago, who knows what's next, you know, and you have to keep true to your authentic sound that you did have, you know, for example, on Dead End and now Rotten, which is a piece of that authentic sound, right? So like, how do you feel that you're staying true to not only your values, but that sound as you continue to grow and grow faster and faster?
Oh, absolute. I feel like, especially knowing that growth, it really is like a thing that
faster and faster, yeah.
And you just never expect until you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, the place I'm in right now is, you know, it's something that I am only so in love with the ride in itself of just seeing what type of artist I really am supposed to be within this world. And just like I said, like the connection of seeing the other artists that we happen to just see our worlds together in that way. And so I feel like when it comes to just keeping true, it's always knowing like the people around me. People around me are exactly like, you are the company you keep. The project I started there, Dead Ends, they're still here with me for Rotten. Everybody, like all those collaborators, is just knowing that it's like, you know, I see that God's plan, especially when it comes towards it, they're like, these people, we're writing together. Remember, we're still here.
We're like, collaborators. We're growing.
Exactly. Like the Chicago city, that, like, you know, even comparing from Texas to Chicago, Texas is a great place. I love my home. You know, you can't go better and bigger than Texas. Of course. Chicago is a beautifully crazy world that I've just been so blessed to find within, of just, you know, like I said, the people have just kept me wanting to be here and getting up and doing the damn thing. So friends and family, I feel like they're the ones who really keep me to it, of being like, hey, we know the type of person you are, you're blessed.
So they remind you of who you are, so no matter where you go, if you're around those people, you are yourself.
Yes,
I like that
thing, and that's like, you know, now that I have been within this city and meeting new people as we go, you know, I've really had that moment of being comfortable with myself, especially living in a studio apartment for 4 years by myself so far. It's a crazy feeling living by yourself. So I think it was a beautiful combination, having the people I have around me and having that space to sit alone and really think to myself, like, who am I? What is this music about? Like, what are we doing here?
It's like your reflection chamber.
Yes, exactly. That's a perfect way of putting it. That's what I feel like, especially with the project Rotten. It was called Rotten for the base of being like, I'm feeling like I'm rotting in this room.
You know what? Now that you say that, listening to your earlier works, it sounds like you're like expanding, like you're almost at a concert always. And listening to Rotten, it does feel like you're in a room making music, and it's like you're consuming all of it, and you're consuming yourself. It's like the best version, the sharpest version of yourself.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And I am really being like, you know, the incubator kind of thing.
I'm so sharp because I'm just surrounded by myself. I am myself. I'm being myself with myself.
No, that's why I feel like, you know, Dead Ends, that first project, it really was being like, okay, we're figuring it out, we're experiencing. One of my favorite quotes I always keep in my head from Lauryn Hill, when she's working through her own things, learning in mastership.
Really, I do hear what you're saying about that, and I'm glad that you're able to not only be reflective about the people around you, be reflective within yourself. You're constantly reminding yourself who you are. You're not going to forget. And something that I do notice about you, something that I feel about you, is that you're an inspiration for me as a queer Black woman because of how queer you are, because of how it's the oddities that you like to focus on and bring out. And I don't necessarily see you defined with queerness like explicitly, but how does that play itself into your work?
When it comes to like regards to my queer world in itself, It really is just feeling like especially how I mentioned how I feel within music and genre that I belong everywhere.
Yes.
I belong to everyone.
Okay. I belong to everyone.
No way of, it really is that thing of knowing for my queerness in itself in my music. I am I see myself as, I don't think this most sort of matters itself, but see myself as very much a masculine holding when it comes to, let me take that back, because like I said, it's just a thing where
it's so complicated to define yourself as a queer black person because it's hard, because they say, okay, woman. Being a woman is being a white woman, and I'll never be a white woman. I'll always be a black woman, which completely changes the way you have to identify yourself. So I see you trying to say, I hold masculine, I hold it. Well, like I said in that podcast I did, all black people are non-binary, because we can never be women or men. Please. So I really resonate with what you're saying.
No, I'm getting back towards it being like, I genuinely admire you and yourself in the way that you genuinely, within our just moment of walking itself, the way you happen to just present knowledge in such a beautiful way, the way your
we talked about incels.
Is power. Oh my gosh, I'm about to get into this obsession.
Yes, crazy.
But that beautifully where that shines out and in, because I just love, I can't wait to see what it look like on camera of just the glow of a black woman. Come on.
Oh, collab of the century. This is amazing.
Please.
Yeah, and speaking more about black women, I feel as if you are an inspiration for people who are young, but also Zimbabwean women who are young, black Zimbabwean women who are young in Chicago. It's hyper specific, and there are women who are just like you, who are looking up to you. I want you to say something to them. I want you to feel with them, because you are them, and I want them to be able to identify with you.
Nah, I say black women of Zimbabwe, the women of Zimbabwe, please, when it is the strength that is within us, it is something that is loud and needs to be heard, needs to be seen more. Make people move to the beat of your drum. Literally, don't let nobody tell you that you don't belong where you don't belong. That's something I feel like has just been a pushed on narrative when it comes to black baby girls and boys in this world. Where it comes to black Zimbabwean women, stand the fuck up and make it known where we come from, because that's the thing. They don't know enough about us here.
They don't.
They don't know enough about the country. They don't know about us. We exist.
Type us in. I love that you said that. I love that you said that. And it really is about putting yourself in the place where people can see you, putting yourself in the place where you're respected and adorned, because there's respect and adoration there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Please.
I completely agree.
It truly is that thing of really being the things that you seek out in the world. I feel like it was probably those moments sometimes where, like I said, the feeling, the notion of I am not from here, but it is also, a thing where when I go back home, they also say, oh, you're a product of the States.
The belonging,
girl.
yeah.
And it's just that balance where it's gosh, I'll walk my whole life not knowing where I belong. Oh, no. Mama said, get
out. I'm going to belong today.
No, that is a thing where that's a golden quote my mom put into my head and instilled it, especially when I came to Chicago.
Yeah.
Make them move to the beat of your drum.
Now for the end of this, I always want to manifest. I just love manifesting. We did it right in front of Green Mill earlier today when we took your photos. I want you to tell me where you see yourself in 6 months. That'll be December, right? I want you to tell me what your December looks like. I want you to tell me what you do in the first week, the second week. I want you to live it out so that when we get there, we can see if it happened.
Planning tour.
Yeah, we can
Not
see it
planning
happen.
tour.
Planning on.
December tour. It's literally I see it in my head of being okay, I've just come back from a few shows. Now we're getting ready to do the second half of tour, literally next year, beginning 2027. And yeah, that's literally something, it's a big dream of mine that, my dreams come true.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Big dream of mine to go on tour with just
who's opening?
Phenomenal people. That's the thing where I think of even just the person of just opening. I'm opening.
I'm closing, and then I'm going to end it as well. Yeah.
Exactly. It's either Doja Cat or 070 Shake or Little Sims or Willow. That's going to be,
Little Sims will be, I would be hyped for that. Little Sims was Piwa? Come on.
But I'm opening. I will gladly take that spot, because I was wait, I don't want them to open for me. Yeah. I would be so upset.
Yeah.
Jill, no, I could never open for Jill.
tapped in
with your.
I love that. I like seeing it. Like, I like seeing you on tour in my head. I like seeing all these things. I'm seeing like the lighting. It's kind of like green lighting. You know what I mean? I'm seeing it.
I just see myself as like a baby of the universe.
Yeah.
And I have so many friends that have like just had that experience, and they've been like, Piwa, you're gonna love tour. And I'm just like,
oh my God, yeah.
That's
your friends again manifesting and supporting you.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful thing, and it's just being able to like go around the world playing music and meeting beautiful new people. It's just, that's exactly what I've just held out so long in my head, and it's just been something where I'm like, oh yes, that would be absolutely beautiful. But I am already living the dream, so like I said, it will happen soon.
Yeah, you gotta dream a new dream every single day.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, Piwa.
Thank you so much for having me, Imani. You are an absolute joy.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
just like absolute energy in itself, the aura pleasing.
I'm so glad. It's actually ditto. Your aura is kind of like, it gives kind of like this like purple blue aura, like lapis lazuli, like, you know what I mean? Something very blue.
I feel like a peach around
really?
here. I feel like this.
I saw a girl wearing a peach hijab today, and I said, I love your peach hijab. She said, it's good for summer, right? And I said, yes, it is.
Yes,
Aww.
please.
That is so cute. Well, thanks for joining us today, and tap in soon for our next interview.
Please.